So, back from the VGC guide, and this time we are looking at Regidrago. It's quite funny that Dragon's Maw didn't get nerfed and Transistor did. You'd have thought they'd have both been nerfed, but it's understandable that Regidrago was, because that was the busted one. This one probably still needs the increase at 1.5 times to do the damage it needs. If it was 1.3, it probably wouldn't be strong enough. But it definitely is with the 1.5 still. Dragon Energy is a very strong attack. It's Water Spout / Eruption, same thing. If you're at full HP, you're doing huge damage. With the Dragon's Maw, that's a lot of damage. Choice Scarf allows it to outspeed everything that's relevant except for Regidrago, and obviously other Choice Scarf Pokemon, but outspeeding everything that's relevant without any kind of modifications, so that you can just spam your Dragon Energy. It's going to be able to do a lot of damage, and if you've taken some damage, then you can lock into Draco Meteor or Dragon Pulse instead. And it gets coverage in Earth Power now. Didn't get that in the previous generation, so that's going to be able to hit Steel types very nicely that would have otherwise resisted your Dragon type attacks. So like Heatran is going to be able to be quads hit as well with the Earth Power, which is really nice. You also get to Terra Steel out of your Fairy weakness, so that's really nice. Like if you can't take care of the fairies that quickly, you can still Terra Steel and I was going to say ignore them, but shrug them off is probably a better way of putting it, while still spamming Dragon Energy to hit the other Pokemon. But if you take care of all the fairies, you basically just get to spam this, and you're sorted. Leave this in the back, clean up in the endgame when you're taking care of the fairies. It can be very nice indeed. There's a couple of other ways to run Regidrago. It's basically just still spamming Dragon Energy, but it's just how strong do you want that Dragon Energy to be. Because if you speed control the Regidrago so that you can Dragon Energy first, then you can get away with Dragon Fang to do even more damage. And Dragon Fang does push some KOs over the edge. Choice Scarf will miss some KOs. The Dragon Fang does push some damage calculations over the edge, so it does KO. And then you don't need as much speed on the Regidrago. This is enough to outspeed a Choice Scarf Chi-Yu if you're in Tailwind. So obviously you do want to be speed controlling your Regidrago. There's not too much in between this and max speed, so then you can just do a tiny bit of bulk. And because your defenses are so low and your HP is so massive, each one of these one increases is actually hugely significant. So even though these 28 and 36 look kind of pointless, they actually do change the damage counts quite significantly because your base defenses are so low. But you can still do some even bigger damage with your Dragon Fang boost on top of this. Because you're just going modest, basically max to do as much damage as possible. You're allowing Protect, so you got to drop something. Like, you probably should have Protect if you got Dragon Fang. It's probably Dragon Pulse. Like, it definitely can be Draco Meteor, because then you just get the consistency of, like, Dragon Pulse is the nice because it doesn't drop your special attack, and you also have 100% accuracy, but Draco Meteor is way stronger. It really should be Draco Meteor, and you want Earth Power as your coverage as well. You can get away with Terra Blast as your coverage with Terra Steel. That would be fine as well, because even Terra Normal would be able to hit some fairies. Not Fluttermane, but if you do Terra Steel, then you'll be able to hit that quite nicely as well. Assault Vest would be pretty reasonable on Regidrago as well. Because its HP is so massive, it's going to have very respectable bulk. Obviously, you want to be Dragon Energying at full HP. That's like the whole point. But if you've taken some damage, Draco Meteor still does huge damage. And you're going to be able to shrug off a lot of attacks with this Assault Vest. Just basically dumping max into defense so that like, you can optimize the amount of damage you take on that side. Because the Assault Vest is going to somewhat patch up on the special side. It's not as fast on this Regidrago to make room for some more bulk. Obviously, you could go back up to the outspeeding Choice Scarf Chi-Yu and all that, but this is just enough to outspeed everything that's relevant if they haven't been speed controlled as well, so you can outspeed Dragon Pulse and all that perfectly reasonably as well, with a little bit extra. Then you're going to be able to do some good damage, even still without max special attack. This will still be good damage. It's not going to be like busted Dragon Energy Oko's everything damage, but it's probably going to chunk things and put everything in range of anything else. So, like, 2 Dragon Energies is surely enough from this Regidrago as well. So, it's still going to be able to do some very good damage. Dragon Pulse, again, very reasonable. Do you drop any of the coverage? Because if you should always be Terra Steel on your Regidrago. Maybe Terra Dragon, but probably not. Then you get the coverage of Ground and Steel on top of that with your busted Dragon type attacks. So, it's going to be very nice to just be even bulkier. Like, pair this with screens as well, like Thunderwave Grimmsnarl, so you can speed control them and bulk yourself out. That would be really nice on top of that as well. If you want the massive damage output, you can go Choice Specs. Be careful when you're attacking the fairies as well, because if you lock into Dragon Moves, you can't hit them. But, yeah, this is going to be able to do massive damage. And you don't need maximum special attack investment. You can. That would still be able to just blow up literally everything. But the Choice Specs should be enough. Then that allows you to bulk yourself out. And this like increase in defense and special defense, that's massive. Like that is a really, really big amount of damage reduction that you get The Assault Vest does it even more on the special side, but this is still perfectly fine on the physical side. So again, pair this with screens and you'll just be able to blow out everything up while still surviving everything. So I don't think that max special attack is necessary on choice specs. Definitely can be, but not necessary. Bulk yourself out. That's going to be way more bang for your buck for the EVs that you invest. And obviously you can go faster as well. This is dump defense, so that you just have the most amount of optimizing your defenses as possible, but you definitely can drop a bit to go faster. Last honorable mention, probably not worth. You got the same attack as special attack, so you can definitely go with a Dragon Dance set, because you're going to be fast enough to outspeed everything relevant except Regidrago after a Dragon Dance if you do go Jolly. It's going to do some good damage. It's probably not going to be good enough to justify it, but it's respectable. And then you just Terra Grounds offensively to get your coverage with Earthquake so that you can get the just be able to hit things, spread, and also hit fairies with something. You can go Terra Steel again. That's perfectly fine, but you have to Terra to be able to get actual coverage. So Earthquake is probably the better way around. But this is probably better as a special attacker anyway. Obviously, this can be intimidated and all that. Dragon Claw is strong, but might not be strong enough. So probably best to stick with just the special sets. But there's lots of different ways like you can run like the items and the EVs on Regidrago. It's doing the same thing basically. It's spamming Dragon Energy and then switching to Draco Meteor when you've taken damage. But lots of different ways of running the Regidrago in terms of the items and the EVs. So it can be super bulked out. It can just be fast and just spam Dragon Energy in the endgame with the Choice Scarf. And it's still going to be very good. Just take care of the fairies and you're basically sorted.